Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys about 25 new secret features, hidden details, and pretty epic things you didn't know about the Doomsday Heist DLC in Grand Theft Auto Online. Alright, so let's jump into this. At the number 1 spot today, did you know that during the heist prep missions, the ones that take place in free mode, you can actually cargo bob a lot of the objectives. So some of those objectives will have you taking armored trucks or police riot vans or ambulances. You can cargo bob these and they are much faster to transport back to your facility, because most of those are in the city and driving them back somewhere to like Paleto Bay or Blaine County takes a while. Just cargo bob that. It's much quicker. Now, speaking of that, in Act 1, there's actually a particular mission that you need to get an ambulance for. You don't even need to go get the ambulance that's in the city. You can just dial 911 and you can have an ambulance instantly spawn at your facility, and you can just use that one. That'll easily save like 10 or 11 minutes off your prep time, which is awesome because time is money when it comes to the heist. The quicker you can do them, the faster you can make the payout, which is a win-win. Number 2, speaking of the cargo bob, did you know you can cargo bob the Khanjali and the Chernabog? So because they're so big, it doesn't look like you can, but you can pretty successfully cargo bob the Khanjali. And what's pretty cool is someone can actually be inside that tank. So you basically got yourself a flying railgun launcher right there. Now, as far as the Chernabog goes, you can lift this thing, but it's so awkwardly long it gets in the way of the cargo bob. And when I tried to do it, I crashed pretty much instantly. So yes, you can cargo bob it, but it is really not all that effective. All right, up next, a really cool Easter egg on the Khanjali. If you actually get the railgun upgrade, if you take a look at the fine print on the actual turret of the gun itself, you can see it's made by Coil, but its power source requires 1.21 gigawatts. Now, if that reference is familiar to you, that's because in Back to the Future, the DeLorean actually relies on 1.21 gigawatts of power in order to be able to successfully travel back and forward through time. So once again, another reference to Back to the Future. You knew there was going to be a lot of them in this update. And also, if you guys open up the back doors of the Khanjali where like the other 2 players can get in, there's freaking railguns inside. Rockstar, once again, are expert trolls when it comes to, showing us really cool things we want in game, but just not giving it to us. The railgun is literally sitting inside of the Khanjali in this little storage case. Unfortunately for us, it is not available. It's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing, which of course is kind of a shame. Another secret feature of the new double action revolver that was just added with the treasure hunt, you can actually pull back the hammer if you only lightly tap on the trigger. So I think this can be done with the regular revolver, but the fact that there's a new one added, you can see like the character pulling back the hammer. It's a really cool look. You can only do this if you lightly press on the right trigger. If you go too far, you will end up shooting. So I thought that that was a nice and neat feature of the double action revolver. So we know the MOC and the Avenger have a ton of similarities. One other similarity they share is the ability to instantly get rid of cops. So if you are in trouble, you got 2 or 3 or 4 stars, and you're right next to your Avenger, all you have to do is go inside for one brief second and then leave, and then you won't have cops on you anymore, which is another great feature and another awesome use that you might not have known about. Up next, this is a feature I didn't know existed. It might have been pretty obvious, but you can actually change your outfits inside of your facility. So you have to have the sleeping lounge in order to have this feature, and it actually isn't advertised when you buy this. So I thought the closet was just for show. It's not, which is actually kind of awesome. One thing I thought was going to be used was like the locker room on the outside where like the vehicles are stored. There's like all of our heist outfits in there, which are some pretty rare and unique outfits, and they're just sitting in like locker shelves, and we can't end up using them. So that right there is a huge bummer, but you can at least change your clothes if you do have the sleeping quarters, which is kind of cool. Speaking of things you have to buy inside your facility, the orbital cannon. So it seems as if Rockstar wanted to implement some sort of refund function, or I'm not sure if they are going to implement it going in the future. So this comes from FunMW2. You can see there's 2 lines of text that are both disabled. The first one is, the target was missed. You have been refunded for your purchase shot. And the second one was, the target was missed. You have been awarded another free shot. Oh no. I hope Rockstar does not do that, or I hope that they made the right decision by disabling it. Could you imagine if you got unlimited attempts to hit someone, or you got refunded if you missed? Oh my goodness, man. The orbital cannon is already overpowered. That would just be even worse. So hopefully that never comes about, but I just want to let you know that that coding for the orbital cannon was in the game. Pretty scary stuff. Now, this next tip is only going to be useful for today, so hopefully you guys take advantage of that. Right now, if you log on to online, Rockstar will give you free ammo for every single gun, explosive, sticky bomb, RPG, minigun, grenade launcher. Every weapon you have in the game, you can get free ammo, but it's only today, and this could save you hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on how long it's been since you've actually been to the ammunition store in-game. So sign on today, get your free ammo. All right, moving on. Rockstar have actually nerfed the Oppressor. So with its wings extended, the Oppressor has a hard time braking when you use the left trigger or the reverse function as your brake. So the handbrake still works no problem, but with the wings extended, you pretty much have no braking power if you try and reverse. Now with the wings closed, you have full braking power. You can just reverse and it will, brake automatically. I'm not sure if this was Rockstar's attempt to make this a little bit less overpowered and made you have like more defined spaces in which you needed to use to land. I'm not sure, but the Oppressor seriously got a nerf when it comes to that, so I wonder how that's going to affect players that actually use it all that much. Probably not, because like I said, the handbrake still works perfectly fine. Now, I mentioned this tip a couple videos ago that you can stock ammunition on the actual real-life Life Invader site and get 10% off. Well, you can do the same thing for Legendary Motorsports. So we got 4 vehicles added on the Legendary Motorsports site, the SC1, the Raiden, the Comet Safari, and you've also got the Pariah. And 10% off is nice. That'll get you on, some of these vehicles, $140,000, $160,000, $710,000. So if you have not taken advantage of this feature, link your social club to Life Invader, get 10% off. Hey, free money is free money. It's something you should take advantage of and never complain about. All right, so a couple videos ago, I told you guys that the Deluxo was probably like one of the best water vehicles because it would float on the water and just ride over all the waves. Well, it turns out that the Deluxo is pretty great when it comes to off-roading as well. This thing is a beast at going over rocks and little stumps and little hills that would typically mess you up or require you to brake significantly in a normal land vehicle. But when you're in sort of that hover ground mode, the Deluxo is amazing at off-roading. Seriously, this thing competes so well with the new Riata and the Coil Brawler. I mean, this thing is epic. The Deluxo really is like an all-in-one vehicle. It's amazing at off-road, and you guys gotta try it, trust me. All right, so I still think that this vehicle kind of stinks, but the Chernabog has unbelievable range. So you know how if you use like a homing missile or Ruiner 2000 or Deluxo, you can use the missiles to lock on? Well, the missiles on the Chernabog can go like 4 times farther than that and still stay locked on. And as kind of an added bonus, you have unlimited missiles. So unlike the Deluxo and sort of the other vehicles, you could sit here spamming missiles all day long, and they can reach really far too. So still not that great of a vehicle, but it's a nice feature. Now, I talked about in my Orbital Strike video that the MOC could not survive. You get booted out. Actually, you don't die, but the MOC gets destroyed. And I wanted to know what would happen if you were in the Avenger when this happens. And something very similar happens. Your Avenger is destroyed. You are not. You are thrown outside. Now, I tested this in 2 different ways. Number 1, doing nothing inside the Avenger, which had the same result. And then number 2, I was at the Mark II weapon bench, and the shot went off and I still got kicked out. So the Avenger keeps you safe to a degree, but it will be destroyed and then you will have to go back to your facility and end up calling it again. So at the most, it's just a minor inconvenience. Now, speaking of the Deluxo and the Avenger, in a couple videos ago, we talked about how once you got out of the Avenger, like for example, if you put it in autopilot mode and you ended up getting out, even if you got back up to your Avenger, there was no way to get back in. Well, it turns out there is. You just need the Deluxo. So if you get the Deluxo on top of the Avenger, there's one spot towards the tail. It's kind of in between like the main body and those back like fins, there's one spot where you can actually get the vehicle back inside. Now this is very difficult to do. In fact, I wasn't able to do it. I was up here for about 2 or 3 minutes trying to adjust my car. I kept getting a weird notification on the screen, but here's what it looks like as you actually do it. Which is really, really cool. So this is a great way in which you can retrieve your Avenger without having to return it to your facility, or otherwise it'll be stuck up in the sky. So again, it's a great way in order to get it down, and it's pretty awesome as well. Alright, so if you're looking for a really overpowered weapon from this update, I'd recommend the Mark II Revolver with the hollow point rounds. This thing is basically a one-shot kill from short to medium distance. Now, the Mark II Revolver has a very, very slow, number one, reload time, but also fire rate. So it is going to be difficult to use if you're more, into spraying and praying. But this thing, it just wrecks. The hollow point upgrade absolutely eats through players without body armor on, and it still does really well with body armor on. It's 1 to 2 shots with that too. So invest in the Mark II Revolver and make sure you get those hollow point rounds as well, because they're pretty epic. So this next tip isn't necessarily like a secret feature, but a couple days ago, the Rockstar servers went offline for like a couple hours. And it reminded me of a couple years ago when a group called Lizard Squad took down the PS4 and Xbox One on Christmas Day. And I'm afraid the same thing might happen this year. Now, I'm convinced that this was just a one-off unrelated event, but since we are during the holiday times, this is the peak opportunity for these groups to do stuff like that. So the way you can check if the servers are up, which they were down for like 4 or 5 hours the other day, is a site I'll leave in the description. Hopefully that doesn't happen on Christmas Day, but a couple years ago it did, and it was pretty devastating. All right, another kind of unsung thing you can do with the Deluxo is actually get it inside of interiors. So the interior that we were getting it in today is the ammunition store. So because you can actually get it to hover and float, you can actually navigate it inside of these interiors that you typically wouldn't think vehicles would be able to get in. So we got the Deluxo in here, and it was actually a ton of fun. This would actually be a really good challenge. Where can you get the Deluxo inside of? I would challenge you guys to get it inside clothing stores. Obviously, you can get it in the Los Santos custom shop. That's not a big deal. But the ammunition, maybe some of the other outlets we have in the game, like the convenience stores, that'd be pretty awesome. But there's a lot of things you can do with the Deluxo, and getting them inside the interiors is also one of them. All right, and the final thing we're going to be talking about today is it looks as if Lowriders have been broken in the Doomsday Heist DLC. So a lot of people have been complaining that their Chino Custom, their Tornado Custom are now unable to drive because they're too low to the ground. They get stuck on curbs and bumps in the road, making them impossible to drive. So I'm not sure if Rockstar messed with something in the suspension in overall all the vehicles, and this had an impact on the Lowriders, or if they just specifically messed with the Lowriders. But there's a ton of reports that these vehicles are now broken and nearly unusable, which is kind of a shame if you're a big fan of them. But anyways, that's all the information that I'm going to be talking about for you guys in this video today. That right there is 25 new secret features, hidden details, and epic things you did not know about the Doomsday Heist DLC and Grand Theft Auto Online. As always, if you think you have a secret feature, hidden detail that I missed, let me know in the comments down below or on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. We like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.